Hi guys. I'm such a dork. I see where it is. I'm at the Denver Zoo. I'm in Denver, right? And grab my tripod and it doesn't have a top. I'm late, so I had to come from Castle Rock. Hyenas. And then of course, Google Maps. Google Maps had me go over to the other side of the zoo when it was like in the park. And so I go around and then it has me on the other side of the fence. Finally here. So this started about half an hour ago. 40 minutes ago now. Sure. So sorry I'm late. So sorry I'm late.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Hi, my name is Bert Castellani. I'm the president and CEO of Denver Zoo, and I've been here about 3 years. And thank you for welcoming me to your community. I really do feel welcome here in Denver. Thank you for being here this afternoon for this important occasion commemorating the life of Alonzo Ashley. We're honored to be joined by his family, Miss Waters, and members of the family, our community. Thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the family and our community. We're here to remember Mr. Ashley with the dedication of this site, the care, concerns, and thoughts that we put into this. I'll share with you a plaque. This is a temporary plaque. The bronze plaque is on its way. And the family's wishes to make this space. When I heard about this, it was the right thing to do, and we wanted to make sure that we did it. We tried to figure out the best spot in the zoo that had beautiful trees. We could create some benches, create a space, misting station, water station, and so on. It won't take away the pain, but hopefully what'll help us in the future to heal. 10 years after this tragic death, I will tell you, I'm committed to making sure that this never happens again here at Denver Zoo. I'm committed to making sure that this never happens here again at Denver Zoo. And that Denver Zoo is the place that welcomes everyone, all the time. No matter where you come from, and what your background is, experience, and so on. This should be the community zoo, and everyone should feel welcome. I'd like to extend my deepest sympathies. Alonzo was here. Let me show you the plaque. So this is a temporary plaque. We could not get the bronze in time. You know, you've heard all these COVID challenges that we face. But this will be in bronze, and it'll be placed on the face of that rock, just on the other side of that water fountain. In addition to that, I have in here a lifetime membership for you. And we would like you to come back, and hopefully, please know that this is your place. So thank you.
So, one of our local activists, councilperson, who is responsible for this district, Councilperson C. DeBaca, who showed up in person to acknowledge this monumental ceremony, would like to share a few words with her constituents and the residents and the community of Denver, Colorado.
Thank you so much for having me. First, thank you to the people who made this possible, to you, Alex, for birthing DJP out of this, the Denver Justice Project. Thank you to Helen, and thank you to Bert, and thank you to Miss Waters for fighting tirelessly to make sure that this happened and your son was honored. I wish that I was here to tell you the truth, but in many cases, when the city enters into a settlement agreement, we don't get justice because settlement agreements are often gag orders. And so I can't speak the truth tonight about what happened. On behalf of the city, I have brought a proclamation that we passed on Monday with what I am allowed to communicate. But what I do want to encourage all of you to understand as we face the litigation as a city related to the police brutality that we witnessed last summer, if you know people who were involved, let them know what I have just told you today about the truth and what happens to truth and justice in many of these situations where we enter into settlement agreements. So this is long, but thank you to the people who helped us make it. This is a proclamation. All of our proclamations sound like this. And it's a way to put together a little bit of a story without a narrative form. So, proclamation number 21-1138 in memory of Alonzo Ashley. Whereas on July 18th, 2011, Alonzo Ashley, a 29-year-old black man, died during an arrest by Denver Police Department officers on an extremely hot day at the Denver Zoo. And whereas since the time of Alonzo Ashley's death, more than a decade ago, the social significance and disparate impact of policing on black men has risen in our public consciousness through the steadfast work of bereaved families and our activist community. Whereas the City and County of Denver is committed to ensuring a safe and equitable city for everyone displaying signs of distress by taking public health and evidence-based approach to public safety. And whereas on the day of his death, Alonzo Ashley was a young man who had his life ahead of him and was on an outing at one of his favorite places in the city, the Denver Zoo. Whereas Alonzo Ashley's mother, Mrs. Gail Waters, who grieves every day for the premature loss of her son, has worked tirelessly for 10 years to establish a memorial. His family does not want any other family to ever experience the pain and loss of a family member in the way that they have. And whereas we now invite the community to gather at the fountain and drink freely of the life-giving water that will flow in Alonzo Ashley's memory, commencing on this Friday, October 1st, 2021. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Council of the City and County of Denver that the Council of the City and County of Denver celebrates the life and honors the memory of Alonzo Ashley, and that the Clerk of the City and County of Denver shall affix the seal of the City and County of Denver to this proclamation, and that a copy be transmitted to his mother, Gail Waters. Thank you.
As we sit here and unveil this water fountain, we have a young woman taking advantage of the cooling station as we speak. Make it yours. This is your space too. Thank you. Thank you. And let's not forget that this is not supposed to be a Band-Aid that says, oh no, racism is done. There is no more structural racism that we have to endure as people of color, as community members, as allies to people of color, right? We know that. We know that every day we step out the door, our lives are at risk. We know that every time we do something like this, we protest against an injustice for 10 years, our lives are at risk. Anytime we exist in our natural culture, our lives are at risk. I want to thank everybody who's been able to be vocal this evening. And we are is Theo Wilson. Was Theo Wilson, is he here? So I want this brother, he grew up with Alonzo, longtime family friend, wrote a poem in his memory. He is on his way. He is fighting the same traffic that we all were fighting on the way to get here. Myself, this is very important to me because Colorado Progressive Coalition before they dissolved, had a task force made up of individuals who were survivors or family members of individuals who lost their lives to law enforcement violence right here in Denver. We felt we knew what was best for us, so we took action. We organized with one another. Miss Gail Waters, this is a mother in suffrage. This is a survivor of violence. This is an individual who should forever live on in our Denver community, along with the name and memory of her son, Alonzo Ashley. I want everybody to take a moment and sit and let this resonate. The reason we're here, this is only monumental because this wasn't taken care of immediately. This man should still be here with us today, and he's not. This is an acknowledgement of a loss of life. This isn't supposed to feel good. This is supposed to create charged energy. This is supposed to create animosity or conversation. It's okay to be in disagreement, but what we agree on this afternoon, today at the Denver Zoo, is that Alonzo's life, this black life mattered, and it was taken away unjustly, and today we're acknowledging that. One of the primary pioneers for the reason this happened today, Helen Rigmaiden. And if anybody is concerned about how to get involved, how to be active in the community, all you have to do is pick up the phone, make a post, be vocal about your opinion, and don't be afraid to do so. Just like she did when she reached out to the Denver Zoo. Just like she did when she reached out to Lundell, Alonzo's younger brother, who was petitioning the mayor to get this fountain, this cooling station, some level of acknowledgement constructed in his honor. Helen Rigmaiden was able to get the attention of the zoo, the new administration, who may not have known that this occurred on their property. We don't know. But based on the communication she was able to establish, we have this cooling fountain in his memory today. I'd like to bring her up to the stage to acknowledge what she was responsible for this afternoon in conjunction with the rest of the Denver community.
Thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. I want to thank some people that helped make this possible. And one of the persons that's missing from this celebration is Miss DeWita Mosby Tyler, who worked with the zoo starting in 2018. And I think she's also responsible for getting the zoo to this point where they could acknowledge that there was a wrong and try to make it right. It was very difficult when DeWanita first told me that, okay, we'll do this, and you and Mrs. Waters figure out what you want for the plaque and so forth. And my initial response was I had to get the original committee back together again. I needed to find Alex, I needed to find Pastor Hughes, I needed to find everybody, including Mrs. Waters, to get everybody back together so that we could do this right. Some of the people I want to thank are my roommate, Kathy Abernathy Good. We quarantined together, and she and her sister, Ona Abernathy Jones, we were able to brainstorm together about what do you need to do? Who do you need to call? Let me get you this phone number. Let's do this. Let's do that. And she was instrumental in getting a note to Dr. Sandy Powell of Soul Care, who got the note to Pastor Hughes, because I could not get Pastor Hughes to return my phone call. But it took Dr. Sandy Powell of Soul Care to hand deliver the note to Pastor Hughes and tap him on the shoulder and said, call Helen Rigmaiden. So I appreciate that, Kathy and Sandy. Karen Ashmore, I'd like to thank her. She's not with us today. She's in South Carolina right now, but she helped brainstorm, how do we want to say this on a plaque? I mean, we have this nice, beautiful plaque, but there was a lot of brainstorming going on about what should the plaque say? What shouldn't the plaque say? Should we do this? Should we do that? And we just handed it to Mrs. Waters and said, Mrs. Waters, what would you like on the plaque? And this is what Mrs. Waters would like on the plaque. So this is what we have. Thank you to Patsy Hathaway. Patsy, I could not get Alex to return my phone call. and Patsy's his mother, and I'm hounding the mother, and I stalked her at a Haitian barbecue we were at, and it's like, Patsy, you must tell him to call me. And so, Patsy, thank you. So it was the little things. It was the little things that helped me get in touch with the big people that were involved with this from the very beginning. And like Alex said, that I heard on the very first day of Alonzo's incident, I was driving down 23rd Avenue with my family on the way to the Botanic Gardens for Mayor Michael Hancock's inauguration. And when I saw those police cars here, I thought, well, maybe the police are going to march down York or something. I'd never seen so many police cars. And it wasn't until I got home that night and I realized what had happened, and I was just shocked and appalled. And I watched the news and watched the then CEO, Mr. Craig Piper, come on, and he was very emotional about what had happened here, and he promised some things. And I thought, well, I'm going to give him a year to see what he does with his promises. And a year went by and nothing happened, and Mr. Piper was gone as well. So then I had to start over. So I was given another zoo contact person, and him and I went round and round. So it wasn't that we just all of a sudden this is happening. There were lots of phone calls, lots of discussions, lots of tears and pulling of hair and so forth. But thank God this year I was given Mr. Jake Kuby. Jake, could you raise your hand? And I hate to say this, but I did threaten Mr. Kuby. Twisted his arm, and here we are. He had to cry uncle, and this happened. But I really appreciate everyone I've spoken to at the zoo. Everybody's been very nice and very polite and so forth. And then I was just so surprised when given the information, and a couple of weeks later, the zoo agreed to do the drinking fountain. And so we had to do it by the end of September. Everything was just moving very quickly. And I really appreciate that. If you all have not seen the Colorado experience about this zoo, I encourage you. It's Rocky Mountain PBS did a series, and it talks about the zoo's history and so forth. And for this family now to be in this unique position to share this space is something special. And so I encourage you all to watch that documentary if you can and support the zoo. When this happened, the community decided that we're going to boycott the zoo. We're not going back in the zoo. Brother Jeff is like, the animals are safe, but the people are not safe going to the zoo. Mm-hmm. We declare on October 1st, this zoo is open. This zoo is safe. We will be safe when we come to this zoo, all of us. One of the promises that I made my indigenous brothers and sisters is that going forward, the group of us activists that are going forward, we're going to advocate for each other. We're going to advocate for the black people, for the brown people, for the indigenous people, for the people, our Asian brothers and sisters. All of us are in this together. And so hopefully when we understand what heat stroke looks in different ethnicities, we'll understand that, we're not all going to be looking red. Who knows what color we're going to be turning when we get heat stroke. But we are aware of it, that when somebody's in trouble, and like Dr. Richardson said, you don't come to the zoo to get in trouble or to cause a problem. If you're in a medical crisis at the zoo, you're in a medical crisis. This is a very special place. This is a place where children come and dream, and where animals are safe. And as of October 1st, we're all going to be safe here. And let's give the zoo a chance. Let's come back to the zoo as a community, and let's support the zoo. And I thank you, Bert. I thank you, Jake. I thank the zoo staff. I thank the young ladies that were putting up the refreshments. I thank the reporters. There's so many people here that are reporting this news, and I just really appreciate it. Alex, thank you for sticking through this, through thick and thin. And if you haven't driven through the alley on 22nd and Oneida, you should, because there's a mural in the alley on his garage, and Alonzo is painted beautifully on that mural, as is Michael Marshall, and as is Jesse Hernandez. So drive through that alley and see what's there. But I thank you for coming, and I want to see if, I do want to let the press know that Mrs. Waters does not want to do any press today, and I want to see if Ashley would like to say something. Ashley, did you want to say something? Pardon me? Oh, Theo, okay. Theo Wilson is a childhood friend of Alonzo Ashley. And Theo has written a poem, and he's going to make that presentation right now. Thank you, Theo.
A decade later, we recognize my brother the way he deserves to be recognized. I don't have much to say but what's in this poem. So without further ado, this is Alonzo. And goes like this. Alonzo's birthday was the day before mine, so to make us feel special, our moms made us share a cake. He was a kid who always used his fingers for forks and the frosting for Spider-Man face paint. Well, these days, forks are no challenge, but birthdays are kind of hard for Alonzo. See, he hasn't had one since 2011, courtesy of Denver police, who snuffed the candles in his lungs with a taser shock for every year of his life that he breathed. They said that his strength was superhuman, like Spider-Man. An altercation with the zoo rent-a-cop got out of hand. They treated the animals there more humanely. This black man, taking his last breath yards away from African creatures in cages. And I know that there's a metaphor in there somewhere, but all I remember was his name on the news. Wondering why some disturbance in the force hadn't warned me. Wondering if the sound waves played tricks on the air. Wondering if he indeed just walked through heaven's gates. Why I wasn't the one greeting him there. See, 8 years before, Denver police handcuffed me to a chair and beat me like I stole the tax dollars I already paid them, my parents' investments in me, in their crosshairs. Every gas smile, every meal, every storybook lesson rests in the hands of Uncle Sam's new slave patrol weapons. But when the beast spit you out alive, bathed in the sweat from the moment you thought were the last before you died, who teaches you how to deal with regretting survival? When the shame at its second chance got you nearly suicidal, Alonzo, it should have been you writing this poem. Instead, I speak the ballad of another dead soldier. In this world we never asked for, old as history's pages, you and I, African creatures born into uniform, doing life in invisible cages. This is the ballad of another dead soldier. When the bullets kept going like our families had to, and ricocheting off the tombstones, I keep his taste buds in a graveyard that sings in my mouth like I can somehow speak their alternate futures into this one. Like somewhere magically right now, Trayvon Martin is a model. All 6'3" of his now chiseled frame standing tall like the pride of his mama. Beard game on 100 like his daddy, clean. Like Zimmerman's hands had he just followed directions. And somewhere, Oscar Grant is an actor alongside Michael B. Jordan, never knowing that he's staring at his movie reflection in Fruitvale Station. It's just another train stop. And somewhere right now, George Floyd's lungs never paused for a moment of silence. His heart never called in black between the beats. Instead, he screamed, "I can't breathe," from laughter that Christmas when his daughter got licorice stuck between her teeth. And somewhere, Sandra Bland just received her first nonprofit grant. She and her fiance expect a child this November, all because a cop swallowed his pride in a Texas traffic stop in an incident he barely remembers. These are the lives in Black Lives Matter. The haters never hear past the black, just get triggered from being awakened from their raceless slumbers, content with real destinies reduced to faceless numbers. And somewhere, Alonzo Ashley made it out of that zoo. And somewhere tragically, I made it onto the news. And this poem was never written, and you're not in these seats, just a candlelight vigil held in my tomb. But for reasons I cannot name, I survived. Here to eulogize the fallen, and I must go on coping with the guilt of being alive. So won't you join me in singing their songs? Our voices ringing out like the Battle of Jericho. Into the blue wall of silence falls. Into the blue wall of silence falls. Into the blue wall of silence falls. Rest in heaven, big homie. We love you. Go.
Wow. Theo, thank you. For one, that was power. And that's what we all need to be doing, is speaking this truth to power on a daily basis. If there's ever an injustice on your shoulders, the only person who's going to have to deal with that silence is you. The best thing to do is be vocal about it every time it's in your personal knapsack. I want to thank everybody for coming out here this evening. I want to offer closing remarks to Miss Helen, but this is step one. And I want everybody after this evening to take this energy, take this awareness, and do something with it. Don't allow this to become stagnant. Don't allow this to just be another church Sunday. Allow this to make or break you as a community member here in Denver. So thank you all for coming out.
The family would like to make a little, say a little something. So Mrs. Waters is coming to the podium, and Ashley M. Ashley, and the gentleman is, Soul is coming.
I'm going to read most of this because I'm nervous and I'm not good at public speaking. I'm Ashley. I'm Alonzo's sister-in-law, and this is his nephew, Soul, and his mother, obviously, Gail. The other two, the niece and nephew, are out of town. They've gone on to do big things, but they send their thank yous for everybody being here for their uncle. So thank you, everyone, for coming, family, friends, community. This cooling station means so much to our family, especially Gail. Everyone here, and even some not here, have fought so hard for justice, accountability, and for Alonzo's death to not just become another statistic under various reports, to allow him to be remembered. Alonzo deserves this, and for his name to live on in an empowering light versus the dark stereotype he was put under 10 years ago. He was someone special. He was generous and kind, sympathetic and funny, an infectious laugh, a big old kid. He was loved by so many, and for those who were ever lucky to be in his presence, you know how he loved you back, especially the kids. From buying fireworks to Halloween costumes every year, food for barbecues, and having sleepovers where he gave them tons of junk food and video games, whatever their hearts desired, even though us parents said no. Oh, and birthdays. Let's not forget about the birthdays. The kids were so excited to have Uncle Alonzo do something for their birthday. He always had to one-up everyone at birthday parties with gifts and excitement. Only the biggest and only the best. One time, Monty, his niece, saw a bike vendor on Colorado Boulevard, and she told him it sure would be nice to have one of those bikes. And by golly, if he didn't make it happen by whipping around in traffic and going back to get that bike just to please her. That's how he was. One November day, Alonzo was on his way to his mother's house when he noticed a man walking down the street without a shirt. He stopped to ask him if he needed a ride. The man said no. However, Alonzo then took his shirt off and gave it to him. The following summer, he stopped to help a senior female who was wheelchair bound, trying to work in her yard. She told me that she remembered him, and he was a great help to her that day. This is just a small sliver of who he was and what he was about. He poured into us all. He made us proud, and we hope he's looking down now proud. This memorial is more than just water. It's so much more for us who deeply miss him. We now have something for him that the whole community will love and enjoy like we did. Our family would like to give a special thanks to Reverend Hughes, Alex Landau, and the Denver Justice, Patsy Hathaway, and the members of the community for being there each year to distribute the water bottles. Attorney William Frankfurt for being there through the 5-year struggle for justice. Mother Helen for reaching out to Alonzo's older brother Lindell and to help make this day a reality. Thea Wilson, a true friend forever. Also, thank you to all the other speakers and the community for their support throughout the years.
there really isn't a whole lot more to say, to be honest with you. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a mother and a grieving family. And this should be recognized as the way that we pay tribute when community members fall. Thank you all for coming out. Can I get everybody to please stand in acknowledgement and recognition for what happened here today and in solidarity for the family, please.
We'd also like to invite you to try the misting station, try the drinking fountain, have some refreshments that the zoo has provided for us. Meet and talk with Mr. Burt, the CEO, and some of the other zoo staff that are here. And let's make this community, let's make this family. Maybe next year on October 1st we'll meet again and have refreshments again. But let's make this community family. Thank you all for coming.
Awesome job. It was very good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You've been on my list of people I need to take some time to contact.
I'll be out of here in a second.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm just getting one shot. I'm just getting one shot.
Yeah, okay. What's good?
Oh, wait.
Okay, your number on here? You can go to the website. There's a volunteer.
Thanks for joining. Sorry for the shakiness.
And we'll
Ever.
come back
Maybe
out
great.
and get you
So,
started.
love you guys. See you again soon.
Hello, nice to meet you. I didn't put your name in there.
I'm tired of skin, guys. Don't have my tripod today, so I have a very, very, very shaky film. Let me turn it around here and show you that we're at the Denver Zoo for the water fountain memorial for Alonzo and Ashley. Sorry, I was brought to tears. We remember Alonzo. Check out everybody's talking and greeting each other, taking pictures. I saw Terrence and Christabel here. I missed them. Wanted to say hi, but I wanted to get a picture of the water fountain. Get a picture of the water fountain over here. Shot. The water fountain. Great, great artist, poet here. And
Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that's great. I've honestly, I've been for months. I've tried it.
so I dragged my tripod along with me. And look, I don't have the top to it.
Oh, wow.
It's supposed to be in my car. I drug it all the way out here, so
busy
I have
trying to get here, huh?
yeah. Just I had to run. I didn't have time to go back to my car.
I brought my sweater.
You forgot your sweater. It's definitely
the
fall
car.
now, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
Yes. So, are you a member of the community? Did you know Alonzo, or did you?
We're seeing him, but I work with Brother Jeff. I've been working with
Oh,
Brother
are
Jeff
you? My
for
name
like
is Carol.
20 years.
What's your name?
Gerald.
Gerald. I'm Carol. I'm Carol Funk. I don't know. I think we might know each other, at least on the internet. I know Brother Jeff. Definitely, most definitely. So, thank you for coming out.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for what you do. Yeah, definitely.
Very nice.
It was very, very nice. So. It's the flowers at the base of the water fountain there.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah. This is our water fountain.
People, wow, you
I did it. For my age, I did.
I'm sick. You trying to get over it.
I know, even with a little bit of heel, right? Nice to meet you. This is the misting station. Look, isn't that awesome? No, you're good. In the water fountain.
I joined the club. I'm in leadership already. Are you? Okay, so you have something to do now.
I'm going to interrupt your photo.
You're fine. How are you?
I'm okay.
You're going to get a photo too here.
Yeah, I'll wait. I'm patient. Patient enough.
Yes.
Not very. Honestly, though.
Yeah. Well, I was so impatient to get here. I brought my tripod and look, I don't have a top to it to put my phone on.
Oh, bummer.
It's in the car, I'm sure.
I can't
So
find mine.
I have a very, very shaky.
I can't find my selfie stick either.
You can't find your selfie stick.
No, I don't know where I put it.
Oh no.
Because it's a nice one too.
I know, it's nice to have a selfie stick. Definitely.
Yeah, I bought the gimbal, but that was like it didn't work half the time.
I have yet to buy a gimbal. I've been thinking about it because I do a lot of streaming. So.
Well, it didn't work with my version of the phone. But a gimbal is nice. It makes everything smoother.
Yes, it is definitely better than this phone. So, anyway.
Well, it's trick you to hold your hand like that, right?
It's been like that, yeah, for a while now. So, yeah, it's okay. That's okay. We got biceps. Used to. There you go.
They can't build the pipeline without insurance, so I think that's going to be part of what working with.
Nice. They have it. Cookies. Cookie. Cookies, and look at all this great water. Mm.
I was talking to my friend Robert earlier, and I was like, somebody else, I can't remember everybody and all that things. I know. Sounds like something I should put for. Right. I was just telling them I just came.
Okay, I'm gonna go walk on the sidewalk here. Nice. It was nice, guys. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming back with me. Love you all.